Yes, well, look, I've worked in Los Angeles a number of times over the years, including deploying to fires in 1995, working there for about a month. And the Santa Ana winds, the fires will not stop while those winds are blowing. Santa Ana means devil wind for good reason. They're hurricane force, they're downslope winds that come from the San Gabriel Mountains, from the desert before that, very dry, very, very strong. And Southern California is suffering a critical drought at the moment, so everything's dry. Now, the most remarkable thing about this is that previous massive structure losses during fires have happened up until about November, not after November. So this is notable for a number of reasons. And unfortunately, we're seeing climate change in action. We're seeing worldwide lengthening fire seasons. I spoke to 2 former fire chiefs in California last night, and they've said, yes, we do get fires at this time of year, but nothing like this.
Yeah, well, I guess that's my next question is, it is the middle of winter in California. Why are we seeing these horrific bushfires at this time of year? And is this a sign that there is soon or now going to be no such thing as fire seasons, that this is going to be something that is happening all year round?
Well, Californian authorities have been saying for probably almost a decade now that they're going to have to abandon the concept of a fire season and just say we get fires year round now. And if we think back to Black Summer 2019, 2020 in Australia, the fires started in July and burnt through to February. And in New South Wales, the fire season historically didn't start until late October and then finished in March. So we're seeing this lengthening worldwide of fire seasons. We're seeing countries that aren't accustomed to fires, for example, England, getting major bushfires. In July 2022, 41 homes were burnt down on the outskirts of London. But places like California, like Australia, that are accustomed to having fires, the problems are just getting worse and worse.
The US and Australia share a lot of resources when it comes to firefighting. You mentioned your own experience travelling over there to help. With this year-long fire season now, how is that going to affect how those resources are shared and how thin they're stretched?
Well, the Royal Commission into the Black Summer fires and the New South Wales Independent Bushfire Inquiry noted with great concern that our fire seasons are overlapping not only between states and territories in Australia, but internationally. So in the past, the US and Canadian fire seasons would finish, they'd go into autumn and winter, and that would release large firefighting aircraft that we could then hire to bring down to Australia. But increasingly, our fire seasons are overlapping. And at the moment, we've seen the fires down in the Grampians, the Otways in Victoria, in southwestern and West Australia, South Australia, the Hunter Valley, New South Wales. We had about 40 lightning strikes in recent weeks. Thankfully, it's rained now. But we have a number of large firefighting aircraft in Australia that they would be using right now if this was the normal fire season over in LA. So this is going to be an increasing problem. Our fire seasons are getting longer, their fire seasons are getting longer. So how do you stretch these major firefighting resources? And how do you help each other when you're both burning?
You were just saying earlier about these Santa Ana winds and how these fires won't be able to be contained until they subside. Just how scary is that situation for people there who we've seen have been forced to leave their homes and abandon their cars on the side of the road?
Look, absolutely terrifying. And it's terrifying for firefighters. I remember my first fire in the San Fernando Valley back in 1995, and I expected, like in Australia, once the fire ran uphill, we'd be able to catch it as it came down the other side and slowed down. It didn't slow down because the Santa Ana winds are downslope winds. They come down from the mountains and sweep into the valleys and canyons and down to the ocean. And we would have seen those images of buildings burning along Malibu, along the beach. And as that Palisades fire came down. A similar thing happened in 1993, which was why I went over in 1995 to study what had happened there. And you can't stop these fires once those winds are blowing. They're hurricane force. They usually last for 2-3 days. And until that happens, firefighters are on their last priority, or they're always their first priority, but there's nothing else they can do. That's saving life. So there's no way they can save property, and there's certainly no way that they can stop or contain the fires until they run out of fuel or run to the